Skenes and the Miz, we got to talk about that. We got to talk about Chase Burns making his major league debut and a whole bunch of other things on the docket. Fernando Tatis taking us all the way back to episode 1 of the Project to Plate podcast, which is crazy. What does that mean? Stay tuned to find out. Just Baseball Show on Thursday, June 26th. Jack McMullen, Peter Apple, who we brought to you by.
BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Remember, folks, download BetMGM, whether that be on iOS or Android, and use promo code JUSTBASEBALL. Why? First bet offer up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first wager loses. But remember, gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 years or older. Terms and conditions apply.
Can I show you my view real quick before we get started?
Yes, please. And for all those watching on YouTube, there's a little bit of a perk of watching on YouTube. And it's a good time to like, subscribe, comment, and if you're listening to this on audio, maybe switch over to the YouTube side just to see Jack's view. And in the meantime, rate, review, 5 stars. Thank you.
So I took the early bus in today, and I just wanted to knock out this show from the booth instead of the hotel room. And I think I might have the best view in baseball right now. I kept the windows closed, but it's let's see if I can adjust the lighting here. There we go.
Wow.
We see that? Oracle Park in San Fran, baby.
That is one of the most beautiful parks in Major League Baseball.
It's number 1 for me. It took me one lap around the concourse to decide that this is my favorite road ballpark in baseball.
Better than PNC. That's surprising to me.
Better than PNC, better than Wrigley, better than Fenway. I think this is number 1 in baseball for me.
Wow. Breaking news.
There's something about the bay on the right, the bay on the left, seeing the sails up beyond the wall and left, the huge Coca-Cola bottle and the big glove in left field, the Jumbotron in center, Levi's Landing in right. Like, the concourse is the nicest concourse I've ever been on. They have a ramen bar on the concourse. This club level's unbelievable. And then I walk through this press level, man, and I walk outside the booth, the road radio booth, and I just see plaques of all of the Giants announcers in the history of this franchise since they moved to San Francisco. And there's just one sheet of 6. Dwayne Kuiper, Tim McCarver, Al Michaels, John Miller, Joe Morgan. It's like, it's unbelievable the history that this place has and the broadcasting history that this place has. And then I just look out and I see this ballpark and I'm like floored, man. This place is unfreaking believable. It's number 1 for me.
Can you give me your top 5?
Yeah. Not including Miami. I love Loanco Park in Miami.
Fair. Yes.
Not including Miami. I'll go Oracle 1. I'll go Wrigley 2, Camden Yards 3, Fenway 4, and I'm actually going to go Truist in Atlanta 5.
Wow, PNC does not make the list because that, I think, was the most beautiful ballpark in terms of the aesthetic that I have seen.
It's beautiful. The view is amazing. I don't know, man. Like, it's 6 for sure, but I think I like Atlanta a little bit more. I think Atlanta has a little bit more of that modern feel.
See, I haven't been to Atlanta, but we will be there for the All-Star game, which I'm really excited, so I couldn't speak on Truist Park.
Yeah, get fired up on Atlanta, but yeah, I'll stand by that. Oracle here in San Francisco 1, Wrigley 2, Camden Yards 3, Fenway 4, Atlanta 5.
I think we're off to a great start. That was a fun story. I liked hearing that about, the legendary broadcasters, the ranking of the ballparks, hearing your story thus far. We're off to a great start.
We're off to a good start. We were off to a great start on Wednesday morning, man. I woke up and I had an 11:05 a.m. first pitch between Paul Skenes and Jacob Misiorowski out west. That was awesome. It was box office. That first inning was exactly what I wanted. And I know that game did not go Skenes' way, and those guys both only lasted, 4 innings? Skenes lasted 4, Misiorowski lasted 5. Misiorowski won the battle. We have yet to see who won the war in this game because now we're into the bullpens. Burrows for Pittsburgh and just Zastryzny for Milwaukee as we record right now. Rob Z. Everybody just called him Rob Z instead of Rob Zastryzny. But that was what we were promised, I think. Like, obviously, you could ask Skenes to go 5 scoreless with 10 punch-outs. That's just not going to happen some nights. The number of 100-mile-an-hour fastballs that we saw in the first inning was ridiculous. And Misiorowski, I think I had this right, hit 100 or higher 12 times in the first inning, and then Skenes bounced back with 100 in the bottom of the first. I took this from the Brewers telecast. It's the fourth time ever that both starting pitchers in a Major League Baseball game hit 100 miles an hour. Paul Skenes and Jacob Misiorowski on Wednesday. Dylan Cease and Shohei Ohtani last week, with Ohtani as the opener. Spencer Strider and Jacob deGrom in 2022. And Carlos Martinez and Noah Syndergaard in 2016. That was rarefied air that we watched on Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah, on the broadcast, they talked about that matchup back in 2008 between a 24-year-old Max Scherzer and a 20-year-old Clayton Kershaw, and how it kind of felt like that. And I was thinking about it, but for them to put it on the TV, sometimes when you're thinking about something and then the broadcasters say the same thing and you almost point. It's like when you hear, I think Family Guy did a joke about this. It's like when you hear the name of the movie in the movie.
Yes, yeah,
And
they
you like
did. And
point at
Peter in
it.
the theater was like, "Oh my, that." Yeah, it was
So
great.
that's what I was thinking. I was like, these young, incredible matchups. And my brain went immediately to that one. And I thought it's just also a cool story that was supposed to be Greg Maddux versus Randy Johnson. But instead, we got Scherzer and Kershaw. Now, this one didn't have anything of that. I just thought to myself, we are truly watching two of the better pitchers already in Major League Baseball, which I know is crazy to say about Misiorowski. He's only made 3 starts.
Yeah.
But then I posted on Twitter, starting pitching rankings are so fluid. Because in reality, like when you're watching the television, right, you were quick to say Paul Skenes is the best pitcher in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
And you've pretty much been proven right. I mean, you could argue Scooble and there's already great arms, but no one's debating that Skenes is top 3, right? So Misiorowski has only thrown in 3 games, but your eyes tell you, are there really 10 better pitchers than Jacob Misiorowski in Major League Baseball?
No, I think so. Pitch by pitch, I think the answer is no. In terms of sheer stuff, Misiorowski and Skenes could very well be the top 2 pitchers in Major League Baseball. But execution is a different story. Misiorowski does not need to be perfect in his execution, but there were points during that start that he looked a bit like a thrower. And he would fall behind quickly, 3-0, 3-1. He would work his way back, and this is what a young Skenes did last year, where if he ever found himself in a 3-ball count, he would fastball you until you lost. He would not give in, and that's the way Misiorowski threw. So for me, when I watch this guy, I see top 2 or 3 stuff in baseball. I don't know if I see a top 10, 15 pitcher in baseball just yet. And I feel like that's where you're leading us.
I think that's perfectly reasonable. I agree with you. I didn't think he looked his best in this game.
Yeah.
I thought, he missed a couple of corners, left a couple of pitches middle, and just in general, it didn't feel like he had as good of command as his other starts. And I'm not just looking at a walk total. I think if you watch that start, he was just around the zone a little bit.
Right.
Watching the catcher's glove, wasn't exactly hitting it every time. Jack, he went 5 innings, 2 hits, 2 walks, 8 Ks.
Yeah.
No runs. That's what I mean. We agree. He can look better than this.
Yes.
And it still felt shocking whenever he gave up a hit.
And the hits were cheapies. Like there was a little dribbler on the infield that Tommy Pham legged out.
There was one good hit.
There was one
Brian
good
Reynolds.
hit.
He caught that fastball.
That was it.
And hit a single.
It's really cool. And Skenes was doing this again last year. But Misiorowski, when he would fall behind 3-0 or 2-0 in that game yesterday, Jacob Misiorowski would get his way back into it just by 4-seamers at the top of the zone. It's like, okay, try and meet 98 up top. I have such good extension. I'm getting well over 7 feet of extension. This thing is carrying off my fingertips. It's spinning on like any heater that you've seen. It's an outlier fastball. And he can ride that thing to the top of the zone, and 98, even if he takes something off of it, is still 98 up top with crazy vert, and guys are going to swing underneath it. He can win with fastball exclusive.
Yep.
He can dominate if the secondaries are landing. And they just have to land enough. They don't need to land all the time. The strike rate is never going to be good for him. This guy was nails in his major league debut, and his strike rate was under 60%. Come on. He can do that. He's one of the few guys that is not going to be beaten by another human being in this game.
So the stuff is outrageous, as we've
Yes.
both covered. But I think what makes a great pitcher is generally great stuff. But we are both big fans of guys who can eat innings.
Of
And it
course.
remains to be seen because Jacob Misiorowski goes 5 innings a start. Now, could he go longer? Of course he could. But Pat Murphy and the Brewers front office are babying him a little bit, which is totally reasonable, right? He's a young starter. You don't want him throwing 100 pitches every single fifth day. So it makes sense. But with that said, it's hard to then put him in a category of best pitchers in baseball when he is not eating innings like we love. But here's the thing, and the reason I wanted to come up with this exercise is this stuff is so outrageous. It's such outlier stuff that almost sometimes I'm okay with only a 5 inning spurt right now.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is play Would You Rather Jacob Misiorowski edition.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about who do you want for the next 5 years. My thinking is, who do you want starting a baseball game today?
Okay.
Today, right? So their current talent level today. Okay?
Okay.
we're
So
going
I'm
to
not thinking about a full season sample. I'm just thinking about what you can do for me over the course of a single Major League Baseball game.
today, not
Okay.
moving forward today. And I got levels to this. And again, people could argue, are some guys in level 2 worse than guys in level 1? You can make the argument. It's a rough draft, basically. I'm just going to throw names at you.
Okay.
And I want you to tell me who you'd rather have, this pitcher that I'm about to name or Misiorowski to win you a game today.
Okay. Can
Okay.
I say something real quick just before I forget? Paul Skenes is 51 days younger than Jacob Misiorowski. That was hard for me to wrap my brain around.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Skenes is 2 months younger than Jacob Misiorowski.
Misiorowski looks 10 years younger than him.
I know. I know. And that's not an indictment on Misiorowski. He does have that young looking vibe, and he's a skinny guy, like
Yeah.
really lanky guy. That's more of a testament to Skenes. He's accomplished so much, and he's a freak. And he's 2 months younger than Misiorowski. He's 23 years and 27 days old.
Paul Skenes looks like one of those Vikings that found America before Columbus did.
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
Turns out he was born in 2002.
he looks like he should be storming 1200s beaches right now.
Yeah, I know.
In a huge
I know.
ship.
So, okay, let's play Would You Rather now. I just needed to get that out.
Level 1. Jacob Misiorowski or Chris Bubich?
Miz.
Clay Holmes or Misiorowski?
Misiorowski. Not thinking twice.
Mackenzie Gore or Misiorowski?
This is where I pause for a minute, but Misiorowski.
Spencer Schwellenbach or Misiorowski?
I'm going to go Schwellenbach. I think the execution's on another level right now.
Would you?
I would. I'm
Win
a
today.
sucker.
Because remember, this is not his ability. Because, right, he's second in innings
Actually,
right now. It's
yeah, no,
incredible.
I got to shed that bias. Over the course of a full season, I'm taking Schwellenbach and not thinking twice about it. Over the course of a single baseball game today, I'll take Misiorowski.
More than fair. I agree with that. Like Schwellenbach, I'm taking over a full season right now.
Of course.
But to win tomorrow?
I'm taking Schwellenbach over the course of a month, but the more you concentrate
Dude.
the sample and you take me down to one game, I'm taking Misiorowski.
Ranger Suarez.
Misiorowski.
I love Ranger.
I love him too.
Ranger in a one
was-
game. I think Ranger in a 1 game sample is actually his last 7 starts have been outrageous. He's pitched for like an
Outrageous.
ERA in the ones.
That was the toughest luck loss I've seen in a long time for
Yeah.
Ranger Suarez in Houston the other day. That was 7 1/3 1-run ball, and he loses a game 1-0.
We're focusing on Miz versus Skenes. I mean, Ranger versus Framber was cinema.
That was awesome.
That was incredible. That was a great game. All right, level 2. So basically, level 1 has been passed.
Okay,
If we're talking about an in-game start, because Mackenzie Gore is also a great answer for an in-game start.
for sure.
One game. Level 2, Carlos Rodon.
Oh, Miz.
Okay. Maybe he should have been in level 1.
Of course.
See, that's what I meant by don't view level 1 and level 2 that
That was such a
aggressively.
Yankee thing you just did now, pretty much putting Rodon ahead of Mackenzie Gore.
Come on, he's having a great year.
He's
He
having a
just got his
great year,
ERA
but he's
below
not core
3.
right now.
He just got his ERA below 3, 6 shutout innings against the Reds. All right, next one up. Christopher Sanchez.
I love watching Sanchez. I think Sanchez, like, he doesn't get lit up at any point.
I love Sanchez.
Um, this is making me think. I'll still go Misiorowski right now.
Me too. Joe Ryan.
Oh, Misiorowski.
Joe Ryan is so you. Joe Ryan is phenomenal. That was
He's
way too quick of
phenomenal.
a
Yeah.
Misiorowski.
I'm excited to watch Joe Ryan when he comes to Miami next week.
Okay.
I'm very excited, but Misiorowski, because Misiorowski, again, nobody is beating him except for himself right now.
Brian Wu.
Wu is becoming a master executor before our very eyes.
He's phenomenal.
This is probably where I go Wu for the first time, just because he's created like this margin for error that's wider than Misiorowski at this point, because Wu is not going to beat himself even. He's got a 3.12 ERA through 95 and a third innings. He's going deep into games and opponents are hitting 215 against him. I'll go Wu.
Would you?
Yeah.
One
I'm
game?
going to go Wu.
One game?
Stop making me think about this, dude.
I'm going this. One game?
Twist my arm, Misiorowski.
Framber Valdez.
Fromber. This dude.
Yeah.
At some point, you just got to put respect on Framber Valdez's name, and he just outdueled Ranger in a game that Ranger went 7 1/3 a one-run ball.
You know what? I'm fine with that. Logan Gilbert.
Before the injury this year, I'll go Gilbert. After the forearm issue, I'll go Misiorowski.
Isn't that crazy where we're at right now?
Yeah, no, but again, we're talking about one game, and that's where stuff comes into play.
Yeah, it's just outrageous. All right, level 3. Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
Yamamoto. Yes, Yamamoto.
Okay. Chris Sale.
Sale.
Really?
He's not here yet.
Okay. Logan Webb.
Dude. I've got Webb tonight. I'm not looking forward to it from a Marlins perspective, but from a pitching nerd perspective, I'm really looking forward to Logan Webb tonight.
You didn't give an answer.
Misiorowski.
Okay, I love it. Max Fried.
Oh, dude, Fried is throwing out of his freaking mind.
Out of his mind. He's got an ERA in the 2s, and I might pick Misiorowski.
Yeah, Misiorowski. I mean, Fried isn't throwing 102.
Here's the one that's gonna stump you.
Crochet.
No, it's not gonna stump you.
Crochet.
No, I'm taking Crochet.
I'm taking Crochet.
He is outrageous. I want to talk about him later. Hunter Brown.
Brown. Brown pitches so pissed. I love watching it happen.
He's got a 1.8 ERA. He is otherworldly, and my brain says Misiorowski. Or actually, that's a lie. My brain says Hunter Brown. My eyes say Misiorowski.
For the sake of my brand, I'm going Hunter Brown because I'm all the way in on that cat.
And then, I thought about bringing Wheeler, but I almost think Wheeler I'd rather have in a 1-game spurt.
Yeah, I'll take Wheeler.
At this point.
No, I'll take Wheeler. I'll take Crochet. I'll take Skubal. I'll take DeGrom. I think I know we just watched it yesterday, but
Skenes.
I'm taking Skenes over Misiorowski.
Skenes also, if anyone wasn't able to watch that game, let's say you were working, it was an afternoon game, totally understandable. You might read a box score and see 4 innings, 4 earned, and be like, oh, did he get crushed? Absolutely not. He got batted to death, paper cuts. It was just one of those where the Pittsburgh Pirates were behind him in that game. And sometimes the Pittsburgh Pirates are the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Paper cuts against Skenes. So I think Misiorowski right now on a 1-game spurt is right behind tier 1.
That is so awesome.
But that's what stuff does, man. And again, I understand the revolution against the 5 and dive guys. I'll ask you this question. Chew on it. Let me know in the YouTube comments right now. What separates Jacob Misiorowski from Blake Snell right now? Snell has 2 Cy Youngs to his name.
2 Cy Youngs. People might say that.
Okay, but all right, that's fine.
I'm with you.
From an Arsenal perspective, If you ask any GM in Major League Baseball, you say, "Hey, you can get one of these guys on the league minimum right now." I bet it's a pretty even split between Snell and Misiorowski. I think they're close to the same guy.
No, the reason I keep laughing is what we're doing right now is
It
outrageous.
shouldn't be happening for a guy that wasn't even the top pitching prospect in baseball, but that's what stuff does. Again,
That's the thing. Yep.
this revolt against analytics driving the game. Mizorowski's the poster boy that proves that analytics fucking work. Like you find a
Yeah.
guy with this fastball data point and this slider data point, they're not going to be touched by
Yeah.
another human being.
And that's why these pitchers are getting pulled up so quickly, right?
At
It's
the end of the
when they
day,
have
if
the
Chase
stuff, they have
Burns'
the stuff.
fastball is unhittable, it's unhittable.
It
And
just
Burns'
plays.
slider.
But
Yeah.
that's why I somewhat, not all the way, I somewhat disagree with like analytics are winning because I think that I don't need to see any number to see that Mizorowski's stuff is going to play.
Sure, but analytics are also proving that a walk is okay if you don't surrender
Yeah.
base hits.
But you
And
hate Blake
analytics is
Snell.
such a sweeping,
Yeah.
overarching term. But in this case, I think the old guard of baseball would hate Jacob Mizorowski. Oh, he doesn't throw enough strikes. He doesn't pound the zone. Guess what? Nobody's fucking beating him.
Actually, I don't know if I disagree. I don't know if I agree with that because who's the old guard's favorite pitcher of all time? Nolan Ryan.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
I've
is
heard
he?
plenty of old guard people say, he walked more guys than anybody in Major League history,
Really?
right?
We're talking to different old guard guys. That's where we part.
Yeah, no, I think the old guard's favorite pitcher of all time is like Maddox or Steve
I
Carlton.
I mean, I like Maddox.
I like Maddox too.
Yeah.
Why can't we be both, man? I think baseball has plenty of room for both.
Just to wrap up on this though, again, it's outrageous because I know you share the same opinion of me. You got to earn it. You got to earn the right to be in these conversations. You got to pitch in big games. You got to eat innings. So for me to even do this, what I want to communicate to the greatest audience of the world, the Just Baseball Show listeners, is that my eyes are screaming at me that this kid is just different.
Yes.
Different. And we saw that flash with Chase Burns. And I think that's a good segue to talking about the Reds' young righty who, for 3 innings, really the first two, but really three, was just eye opening.
Hell of a transition. Lay it out for me because the final line on Burns, 5 innings, 3 runs. He K'd 8, did not walk anyone. He punched out the first 5 guys that he saw.
I turn on the TV knowing I got Carlos Rodon against Chase Burns. And anybody with a brain is expecting a good pitching matchup. I didn't expect him to look that good. And the reason for that is the Yankees are a top 5 team against velocity. Now, they were the best team against velocity, but Paul Goldschmidt has slowed down recently. Aaron Judge hits velocity well. The whole lineup, they rank 5th in xWOBA. And for a guy in Chase Burns, I thought to myself, not the best matchup. The Yankees are the #1 road offense in Major League Baseball with a 126 WRC plus, who all hit high velocity, and what could end up hurting Chase Burns in Great American Ballpark? The high ride fastball that can lead to home runs. The Yankees are #2 in home runs in all of Major League Baseball. So I thought to myself, this is going to be a tough matchup. And then the fastball comes into play. And he is making great hitters look silly. What do you strike out the first 7 guys? First 6? The slider on the outside corner to Judge. Aaron freaking Judge, quite possibly the greatest right-handed hitter in Major League history, making him look silly on sliders. But then it's started to fly off the handle a little bit. Ben Rice catches a hanging slider and parks it 430 feet. I thought that was a Peter Vision home run. That looked like it went farther. It went like 40 rows up in the
Yeah.
stands at Great American Ballpark. You know, Jazz Chisholm got a hit earlier on, kind of broke up that huge strikeout streak on a well-placed fastball. It's just Jazz was sitting on it and just got straight to it. And, you know, you look at 3 runs in the box score and you're like, oh, the Yankees started to really hit him. When in reality, the only hit that he kind of gave up that led to those additional 2 runs coming in was a TJ Friedel. He dove for the ball in center field from Anthony Volpe, and it skipped past him, leading to a triple. And then, of course, Chase Burns did enough to not let Anthony Volpe come back in. So from my vantage point, I thought to myself, okay, this is a Spencer Strider starter kit. And what I mean by that is the fastball is it's 100 and it's riding. And these guys even the 97 and 98s, they're getting just their doors blown off. Now, is that a result of they haven't seen him yet? They don't really know truly what to expect? Of course. But another part of it is that fastball is outrageously good. His slider is outrageously good, but the thing is, when he hangs it, it does look a little bit hittable. So for Chase Burns really to take that next step, you guys talked about it. The command has to get a little bit better, and he really has to develop this changeup. But Chase Burns, and Peyton said this at Big League Analysis, edits these YouTube videos. He's a superstar for us, and he's a superstar on TikTok. Go follow him at Big League Analysis on Instagram and on YouTube. He gave me a comp, or he texted in our group chat and in our Discord, Jared Jones. And I thought to myself, yes, I think he's going to be a little bit better than Jones because I think the fastball is a little bit better, and I think the breaking ball is a little bit better. But I think that's a good start. If he can find his way anywhere from Jared Jones to Spencer Strider, you got a really good pitcher here if you're the Reds. So I was really impressed. 5 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned in that type of matchup to show what he did initially. I'd be really excited if I'm a Reds fan.
For sure. I think that's a great comp. Spencer Strider starter kit. Now, I think Strider, by certain data points, would profile a bit better when it came to the fastball.
I think so too.
Specs,
the lower
but at the
release height, more induced vertical break. I agree with you.
I would think so, but Burns gets a lot of good vert too, and
Yeah.
the fastball obviously is going to play, but it didn't in college for some reason. And Aram can fill in a little bit more color on that, but I think it was just like a hittable pitch. You see it decently well as opposed to other verti low release fastballs. Burns, for me, like in terms of just pure octane shit, I think he's right there with Strider and Jared Jones. And that's cool. And Burns, I think a lot of people came to the realization maybe 2-3 starts into his Wake Forest tenure after transferring from Tennessee that like this guy could be a rocket ship through the minor leagues. I was not expecting the minor league tenure of Chase Burns to go as well as it did. Skenes had a 0.99 ERA in like 45 innings in AAA, I think. Burns, this guy had a 1.6 ERA, 1.7 ERA, and he made his way from high A to the show. I was expecting like a mid twos or a high twos in the strikeout numbers to be gaudy. He wasn't walking anyone. He was striking out the world, and the ERA was at 1.7 in the minor leagues. That's crazy. And the only way you do that is by blowing high-octane stuff by everybody that you see. And that's what he did. And he did it against the New York Yankees yesterday in a hitter-friendly ballpark. That's the thing to me. Misiorowski has done it against the Cardinals, Twins, and Pirates. Chase Burns just did it against the Yankees. And I'm not saying that to take anything.
We didn't really do it. He did give up 6 hits and 3 runs, to be fair.
I know,
but
Misiorowski
is allowing throwing no-hitters against
No, I know. And Misiorowski has been far more impressive. But at the end of the day, there's something about doing it against the Yankees that is just different than doing it against the 3 teams that I listed for Misiorowski.
The Yankees are literally the number 1 road offense in baseball that are second in home runs at Great American Ballpark while being top 5 against velo.
Yeah. So
that's as hard of a matchup as it gets.
He played into a Yankee strength, and he punched out the first 5 guys that he saw in Major League Baseball. And that could have been adrenaline there. But if we're learning anything from what Christian Moore is doing right now in Anaheim over the last 2 weeks, it's that playing with adrenaline can be a good thing, and it can be sustainable in Major League Baseball. I think we view a random game in June or July as a game that doesn't feature that much adrenaline. These guys know how to create that adrenaline. And I think Chase Burns is going to have no problem tapping into the energy he needs in every single one of his Major League starts, and then he'll figure it out. Again, I love the Strider comp. The Hunter Green one is the one for me. I think it's carbon copy. He's Hunter Green. He's 5 years removed from that. Green and Burns in the same clubhouse is going to do wonders for Chase Burns.
And I think he's probably going to have the numbers are probably going to end up being somewhat similar to a Green, Strider, and Jared Jones. Because at the end of the day, Jared Jones in his first full season put up a 4.14 ERA. And that's sometimes what can happen to pitchers like this. Because what I've noticed, again, with dominant fastball guys with really one great breaking ball and the development of a changeup or another pitch like that, sometimes they'll have starts where it's like, all right, they gave up 5 earned runs on 3 dingers, right? Their fastball was just getting torched this game because sometimes these pitchers, the downside of them is that they allow a lot of hard contact. But then when they're dominant, that's when they go 7 innings, 1 hit, 13 punch outs. And you're just thinking to yourself, is there really anybody better than this guy when he's
Yeah.
on? But then when he's off, it sometimes can be a home run party. That's how I view Chase Burns, where I don't really view that with Misiorowski. Like there's just it's like, oh yeah, that hard fastball at the top. Well, no, no, no. This is 103. Like this is 102 with 96 mile an hour slider.
Yeah.
Like Chase Burns can get up to 100. I mean, they're all still outrageous. I don't know. We're splitting
They're
hairs.
all outrageous. And think about what we just spent the first half hour of this show on. We spent it
We
on
could go way longer.
we can go way longer, but we spent it on a Pirates Brewers game on a Wednesday afternoon and a starter for the Cincinnati Reds. We're in a heck of a spot right now with young pitching.
Shout out the NL Central.
Shout out the NL Central. And this proves to you that the baseball world can be tuned into Pirates Brewers on a Wednesday afternoon, and they can be tuned into a Cincinnati Reds game.
My last one, and I'm really interested on how you're going to I just want to hear your kind of story on this. So the where this point stems from was someone commented on a TikTok from last year's MLB draft. Because you made a point about Chase Burns when he was drafted number 2 overall, that you were really surprised by it. You weren't saying he was bad by any stretch of the imagination. You weren't even saying that, oh, that was a bad pick. I think when we were going over what shocked you, you were shocked that Chase Burns went number 2. So I guess my question to you now, watching him in this start, seeing him progress through the minor leagues, what was shocking to you at the time, and how has he then remedied that to be one of the fastest risers among pitching prospects in baseball?
So for me, it's always going to be jarring when a pitcher goes top 5. Always. And a lot of that has to do with prospect value. The hitter is always more valuable than the pitcher. I don't love that as a pitching person. Like, I love pitching way more than I love hitting, and I will tune into pitchers. I don't really tune into hitters. I'll watch Kyle Raleigh when he's up. I'll watch Judge when he's up. I watch all these guys in part because I'm watching the good starting pitchers on the other side. Um, I think the thing that was surprising to me about the pick was I felt like Cincinnati was in an unbelievable spot with the rotation at the time. It was Green, it was Lodolo, it was Lauder the year before, it was Abbott, it was Ashcraft at the time. They had
It was
some
Nick
other irons
Martinez.
in the fire.
Nick Martinez
Nick
was shoving.
Martinez, like
Yeah.
they were 7 or 8 deep in terms of starting pitching options. Chase Petty was on the way up and he looked good. I thought, okay, they could use a college bat to get there quickly, and they decided to go with another arm. I'm not faulting them whatsoever, and that is why immediate judgment on drafts and on trades I think is pretty silly. Obviously, we have to do it because we have a podcast where we talk about baseball, and if we didn't do that, and every time something happened, if we just said, "Oh yeah, let's wait a year and see,"
Yeah.
nobody would listen to this freaking show.
But it is so fun, though.
It's a
It's
ton
so
of fun.
fun to
It's
make
a ton of fun.
overreactions.
And I understand that it's stupid to do, but man, is it fun.
It's so
And
fun.
man, does it get clicks. So we're going to keep doing it.
That's all this is, a click farm, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen. We did
All
Cal
we're
Raleigh.
doing, man.
We did Cal
Engagement
Raleigh
farming.
versus we did Cal Raleigh versus Aaron Judge. We did Would You Rather. And I also want to say, as a Yankee fan, just to wrap up on the Cal Raleigh thing, because I never got to respond. It was just
Yeah.
you and Arm, and I was jealous. I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, of
It is
course.
the greatest. It could be the greatest catcher season of all time. Like when you were going through it, I was listening, on my walk, and I was like, "Yeah, he makes all the greatest. These are all perfect points." But if Aaron Judge hits 350 with 55 home runs, it's like, well,
Yeah.
but you got a lot of flack on social media, it's social media. That's what happens when you give a take
No,
that
really?
people aren't all going to disagree with.
That
Exactly.
really
But what I was-
affected me. I was pretty beat up. I lost some
agree.
sleep
I
over
understand.
Instagram and TikTok comments.
What I will say as a Yankee fan, I thought that you came from a good position. Are you going to be proven right? Who knows? Probably not, but I understand where you were coming from, and I don't think it was as outlandish of a take as other Yankee fans did.
I can appreciate that. Okay.
Yes.
We are going to get to one more pitcher before bouncing around topics to end the program. But before that, I want to tell you about Ethos Life Insurance. When you lose someone close to you, you can't help but think about the future, right? Would your family be prepared financially if anything were to happen to you? Last thing you want your family to worry about is how they're going to pay the bills. With life insurance from Ethos, your family is entirely protected. Ethos is an online platform that makes getting life insurance fast and easy to protect your family's future in minutes, not months. There's no complicated process. It's 100% online. There's no medical exam required. You just answer a few health questions. You get a quote in as little as 10 minutes, and you can get same-day coverage without ever leaving your house. Life insurance is more affordable than you think. With Ethos, you can get a free quote and customize a rate that fits your budget. You can get up to $3 million in coverage, some policies as low as $2 a day billed monthly. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get a free quote at ethos.com/justbaseball. That's ethos, ethos.com/justbaseball. Should we talk about maybe the best lefty in baseball? Garrett Crochet, the Boston Red Sox, man. The floor is yours. You said, can we talk about Crochet being what did you say, a freak alien?
Yeah.
Uh, I'm trying to find the exact text. You said, Crochet is a fucking animal. Okay, floor is yours.
I did use the F word, and Crochet is a freaking. I'll be nice, even though I do drop the F word sometimes, but he is a freaking animal. And we're going to talk about Jarren Duran in a minute, and I'm going to get upset at the Red Sox. But for now, I'm going to praise Craig Breslow because this was the guy that everybody wanted, and Craig Breslow was the man to make it happen. And the Red Sox rightfully extended him. And I feel like going into the season, it was one of those things where people expect Garrett Crochet to be good, but there were still questions in the air. And I felt like from watching him, even in short spurts when his innings got limited at the end of the season, but at the beginning of the season, I was like, this guy is as good as anybody in Major League Baseball already. What I'm doing with Misiorowski, I did with Garrett Crochet last year. And to be honest with you, like this version of Garrett Crochet is even better than I could have ever imagined. Because my worry with Garrett Crochet was, is he truly going to be an innings eater, right? We know how outrageous this stuff was, right? It's from the left side. It's these huge levers. It's this big leg kick. He's 6'6", 245 pounds of pure mountain moving down the mound. Fastball outrageous, cutter outrageous, sinkers, the sweeper that starts in the left-handed batter's box and hits you on your right foot. We knew how good this stuff was. But can he last? Can he? We haven't seen it. 146 innings is good, but we want 180. We want 200 from a guy that you're going to spend 3 or 4 prospects, top ones at that, and then give hundreds of millions of dollars to. The way this guy operates on the mound gets me so fired up, I can't even take it anymore. I'm so jealous that the Red Sox have him over the Yankees because this is just the perfect horse. Like Tarek Skubal, horse. Paul Skenes, horse. Garrett Crochet, horse. This guy, there's no emotion on the mound. While it's a big leg kick and there's a lot of levers moving, it feels very fluid. And he's not running out of energy. And he gives you these Verlander-esque pitches where in the bottom of the eighth on his 111th pitch, because I love you, Alex Cora, you keep letting him go out there. It's old school pitching. He leads Major League Baseball in innings after his one bugaboo could be, can he eat innings? And he's leading Major League Baseball in innings. He's leading Major League Baseball in strikeouts. And he can consistently eat innings with the way he pitches. He saves his velocity for late. He is able to work through, get to the 6th, to the 7th, to the 8th inning with ease while racking up 10 punch-outs without letting the pitch count go out of whack. This guy is the definition of a horse, and he is appointment television for me. Appointment. It's Scooble, it's Skenes, it's Wheeler, it's Crochet.
Yeah.
For me, I have found the definitive fourth best pitcher in baseball. Now, DeGrom is so good,
He's really
but
good.
he's so good. He is, I hate leaving him out of the four spot. But for me, with how Bochy is handling him, his last four starts only going 85 pitches. Now, we're recording on Wednesday. He throws today. Does he go 100? Does he go a complete game? I have no idea. But it does seem like the Rangers are being careful with him. And I can't have a guy at number 4 if you're being careful with him. I just can't. When we're
I
splitting
understand.
hairs like this, I
I
just
understand.
can't.
And listen, I'm entirely with you. I think Crochet is clear cut number 4, and I
God, he gets me
love
fired up.
it. Totally got you fired up. I love the Verlander shout. And I just watched Verlander make a start on Tuesday. And here's the thing: Verlander is 42 years old. He's worked 12 starts. He has yet to uh, earn his first win in a Giants uniform. 12 starts in, which is crazy. Like, we're seeing an
Crazy.
older version of Verlander. We're seeing a guy that's probably done after this year, I would
Yeah,
assume.
he's like 42. I mean, it's
He-
just, it's
Here's
incredible
the
that he's
thing.
still throwing 90 miles an hour.
I know. I know. Here's the thing. Verlander still has so much aura. I was sitting next to AJ Ramos, who I have had such a blast working with on the radio. AJ was an all-star closer for the Marlins on those teams that had Yelich, Ozuna, Stanton, all those guys, Rio Muto. AJ, like, I looked at him before the game began when Verlander was tossing his warm-up pitches, and I just asked him, our show open was, how excited are you to watch Justin Verlander pitch? He goes, oh, man. I was rattling off the career numbers, and he was sitting there shaking his head. There's aura attached to Verlander.
Yeah.
And I think that the reason that aura is attached to Verlander is because you remember Tigers Verlander. Hell, you remember Astros Verlander that literally said, I'm going to kick your ass.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter if it was the second inning or the eighth inning. I'm going to kick your ass. That's who Garrett Crochet is.
Yep.
Crochet's saying, I have this heater, I have this cutter, this slider thing, and I'm going to kick your ass.
Good luck. Here
And
it
that's what
comes.
he's been doing. Yes.
Here
He's
comes
saying
the
good
train.
luck to 1 through 9 every time he toes the rubber, and that takes him through 8 innings, pretty much every time.
And he's managing his pitch count, his velocities
Because he's not afraid
like
of
a
throwing
vet.
strikes. He's saying, here it is, try and beat me because I'm going to kick your ass. And that is the pitcher that I love watching.
And the batter 60 feet, 6 inches away knows it.
And we have two guys that do that right now. Scooble does that too.
Scooble
Skenes
does that.
obviously does that, but
Google does that to the
Scooble,
nth degree. He is
I
the dog, the horse, the guy in that category.
I think Scooble and Crochet are the two ass kickers in Major League Baseball right now.
Yes, I agree with you. And Skenes is just, it's just so tough. It's like, the Pirates aren't winning games. Like, we don't know what it's like when he's got a lead going into the seventh.
Skenes is more overwhelming than those
Yes.
guys, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it
There's
does.
not fear in Skenes' arsenal, but there's an art form in there. And obviously there's art to what Crochet and Scooble are doing too, but I think there's more art in Skenes' attack. I think Scooble and Crochet are more bullies than Paul Skenes is.
Yeah, no, it's Skenes and Wheeler in a way.
Yeah, because
Wheeler's-
they're the best pitchers in baseball. I think they're artsy.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
you've
they
got
still throw a
Scooble and
97.
Crochet. They're like, I'm gonna beat you up, buddy.
Yeah, like you come close to me, I'm gonna punch you in the face.
Yes.
Versus Skenes, where he was like, I'm gonna make you look like an idiot.
Yes.
They're all just so good, and it's splitting hairs. DeGrom, and I even in our levels when we were doing with Misiorowski, like Strider's still there. I know he had, not the best outing against the Mets, but it really wasn't that bad either. But as he continues to get better, he is still in that category as well. Baseball's just so ripe with talent. It's incredible. Every single time I turn on the TV, there is someone just incredible on my television these days, and I love baseball.
You're such a cornball,
I
man.
know. It's so corny, but damn it, I love it right now.
Let's go to the hitter side, bounce around. You've been asked too many questions about Jarren Duran. Say your piece on Jarren Duran. Everybody's asking you if he's going to get traded.
Yeah, so I go live on TikTok. Every day I have picks, and before I get to the picks, a lot of Q&As, right? And it's fun. I love talking with, people that follow our TikTok and everybody who comes in. And the most asked question over the last week was, is Jarren Duran going to get traded? And I thought Aram made a good point when Devers was traded that they're kind of getting out of the certain quote unquote log jam where they would have to trade a Dever or trade a Duran, excuse me. So it'd be very unlikely. But here's the thing. More and more and more reports are coming out that if a good enough offer for Duran comes to the table, that Breslow would be willing to part ways with him. And now, what I want to say is one hearing this makes me upset, and I'll explain why later, but I really want to talk about why it technically could make sense to trade Jarren Duran. You got Roman Anthony in left, you got Ceddanne Rafael in center, and you got Willie Abreu in right. How do you get Duran into the lineup? There's a logjam there, quote unquote logjam. And I understand that. Jarren Duran is a 95 WRC plus. Jarren Duran has lost the Red Sox a few games because his defense has been atrocious. He's taken a big step back defensively to what he was last year. So Duran being on the table, I get it. I understand it. But I don't fucking like it. I hate it, actually. And the reason for it is, and again, if you are very analytically driven, if you believe in this Breslow way of thinking, you're going to disagree with me. And that's okay. We have a difference of opinion. Buster Posey has a difference of opinion from Craig Breslow. That's why he acquired Rafael Devers. He was like, I'll pay the $250 million. So there is not one way to win in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
And it comes, my hatred of this entire situation stems from the fact of my respect for the Boston Red Sox. My thinking of the Red Sox as one of the true powerhouses in Major League Baseball. My thinking of the Red Sox as top 5 in payroll, a monster, one of the best teams historically in baseball. That's where I come from. And maybe I need to rewrite that thinking because the Red Sox are acting like a mid-market team. In 2018, when they won the World Series, where were they in payroll? Number 1.
They were 1? Okay, I was going to guess like 2 or 3.
Who's the team that they beat?
Dodgers.
Number 2. Who's the team that they beat to get there?
Houston?
Astros.
Yeah.
They were number 3. Now, I'm not saying that having a large payroll automatically makes you better. But what I am saying is this feeling that the Red Sox can't pay their players infuriates me. It infuriates me because they are acting like they are 19th in payroll. And they are 19th in payroll. They should never be 19th in payroll. And now, the anger I show for trading Duran is the Red Sox have now traded Mookie Betts, Chris Sale, Bogarts left, which actually was probably a good decision, Devers, and now potentially Duran. And now look at the current Red Sox lineup right now. If you trade Duran, you're right. The logjam is fixed. You can play your young guys in the outfield. But how much of a logjam is it, Jack? How good is Willie Abreu? Put up a 3-win season last year. Hold on. Put up a 3-win season last year. I know I'm asking you questions. They're more rhetorical just so I can vent, unfortunately.
Gotcha, yeah. I'm going to play on my phone.
No. Okay. Okay, question for you. How good is Willie Abreu?
I think he's a really good platoon bat.
So he's on pace to be about a 3-win player.
Yeah.
He was a 3-win player last year with a 114 WRC plus. That's a logjam? Ceddanne Rafaela has a 150 WRC plus in the last 20 games, Jack. He's starting to really hit. Brought his WRC plus all the way up to 93. Yeah. Now you can look at his F4 and be like, he's a really good player. Jackie Bradley Jr. put up a 5.5 win season once. When these guys click offensively, they can have good seasons. But in reality, is Ceddanne Rafaela an above average bat? I wouldn't say so. Incredible defender. In left field, you have Roman Anthony, who we expect to be awesome. He's hitting 114. Now, again, I would still build around Roman Anthony. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. I think he's going to be incredible. But what I will say is I think this over-exaggeration of a logjam is just gaslighting Red Sox fans into being like, yeah, we're okay with trading Jarren Duran.
Yeah, I don't think Red Sox fans are okay with trading Jarren Duran, and I could be entirely wrong.
The one I'm talking with is Colby Olson, who thinks it's perfectly fine as long as you get a good return for him.
Okay.
And I'm just like, what? How are we here? How are we here? Even if it makes sense.
There are a couple ways that I want to go with this. Number one, unless you have a top 10 player in Major League Baseball, I don't think you should hang up the phone on anyone. I think that there is a package to get any deal done for somebody that isn't a top 10 player in baseball and someone that is going to retire in your hat and go on a bust in Cooperstown with that hat. Like, there are very few guys that fit that mold. The Dodgers are not fielding offers on Otani or Yamamoto. The Pirates are not fielding offers on Skenes. The Guardians are not fielding offers on Jose Ramirez. I say all that to say Jarren Duran is not one of those guys. I really don't think so.
Here's I totally get what you're saying, but I want to where my anger comes from is the Dodgers have a technical logjam with Dalton Rushing and Will Smith. Are they trading Will Smith?
No, they're
I would
not.
be if I said that on the podcast, you would think that like you guys were talking about how I wear a
So
tinfoil hat. You would think my whole body is covered in it.
so
Big
let
market teams don't do that.
let me finish here.
No.
I'm going to say that they should be picking up the phone if anybody wants to talk Jarren Duran.
Sure.
And the Boston Red Sox and Craig Breslow has the right to be blown away by a Jarren Duran trade offer.
Here's what I'm nervous about. I'm nervous that they're going to trade him to the Royals for Blake Mitchell and Lucas Erceg and call it a
They're
day.
not going to do that. I have a huge butt coming, and you're not letting me get to the
All right,
butt. You keep
sorry.
on interjecting.
I told you I was going to get fired up about it.
Yes. Again, to wrap what I was saying, I don't think it's in the best interest of the Boston Red Sox to negate the idea of being blown away for Jarren Duran. If they're blown away, I think you can do it. I think if they get this deal that is like, we get three top 100 guys for Jarren Duran, they think about doing it. But here's the but. You ready? This is going to save the day. You can't take guys like that for granted when you're the Boston Red Sox, and you can't move them to get the payroll lower. I'm not saying that the Red Sox need to extend Jarren Duran. All I'm saying is that they could ride this thing through his arbitration years. I understand the idea of wanting to move him at peak value, but you're not running the Rays. You're not running the Royals. You're not running the Brewers. Craig
Thank
Breslow
you.
is running the Boston Red Sox.
Thank you.
There, like I landed, okay? I
You
stuck
landed.
the landing, I think.
I feel better.
I'm confused. And the big question for me, I'm confused with who the Boston Red Sox want to be. Who do you want to
Me
be?
too. That's what I'm saying. Like, what are you? Are
I
you the
think a
Red
lot of
Sox?
teams. I think a lot of teams would be in a weird spot right now because they know that there's a possible lockout looming, and I would assume any contract signed before that lockout will be grandfathered in to the new CBA. I don't have any sourcing on that whatsoever. That is simply my gut feel, and I would be very curious to know, is Craig Breslow being told by John Henry, don't spend because we might have a cap coming? Like I am confused with what the Red Sox immediate direction is, and I'm confused with what the Red Sox long-term desired direction is. Even if we do get sweeping changes to the CBA ahead of the 2027 season, even if we get those sweeping changes, are the Red Sox going to change what they're doing right now after that? I think there's a really high likelihood that they do. I think there's a really high likelihood that they push towards the cap and maybe even pay some tax penalties there if they push past the cap. But there's also a chance that they're just trying to operate like a team that wins within the margins. And that would suck, but
Yeah.
I don't think we can make that conclusion just yet.
I don't think we can make that conclusion yet, but I think we're getting dangerously close
We're
to
getting
making
really
that
close.
conclusion.
But again, like I need to see it through 27. And I hate to punt this conversation 2 years, but I'm going to because I want to see how they operate post sweeping changes to the CBA.
I think that's okay. Okay. I think that's fine, but are any of the true big market teams giving a shit about that? Or, no. I mean,
No,
they're
because they're
going
trying to
after it. They're
win
trying
right
to
now, and
win. Exactly.
they know the cash flow that can come in from being a World Series contender, and the Red Sox are not doing that right now.
I
They're
just don't
trying something else.
and
But
it just
also, like the Cubs had a chance to pay a shit ton of guys, and they haven't done it.
the Cubs are, yeah, I mean, the Cubs are in a similar breath where I get upset at the Cubs all the time too.
So that's my thing. Like
But the Cubs have also,
We applaud the Padres. They're underwater right now.
I mean, the Padres are better than the Red Sox right now.
Financially, they're
Underwater
underwater right
financially,
now.
but they are better and they will be competing while the Red Sox likely miss the playoffs. So it's like, yeah, they are underwater. They also have been making the playoffs, had a couple of really great years. They're a much more entertaining team to watch. But I agree, it's not like I think that the Padres way is better than the Red Sox way. I think both ways are not very good. Like I
So
think both, just
how
because the
many how many
Padres aren't really
teams
working,
how
doesn't
many
mean that
teams
the
in Major
Reds.
League Baseball are doing it the right way?
I mean, the Mets, you could do it that way, where Steve Cohen signs,
I wouldn't say that's the
and then you
right
bring
way.
in Dave Stearns. I mean, the Yankees have done a great job. The Dodgers have done a great job. The Houston Astros really went for it and were incredible for a very long time.
What do
Now,
you
I
want to say
know
to our friends in Cleveland or Milwaukee or Kansas City or Tampa or Detroit? What do you
that
want to
they're
say to those people that don't live in New York or LA?
no, I understand. And that's why my expectations for those teams are different. I'm not holding them to that same standard.
But you're holding the Red Sox to that standard because
And
of
isn't
what
that
they've done.
fair?
I think so, but I don't know how they want to operate. They
And
confuse me.
that's why I want to tie this back to the beginning of the conversation. Maybe I need to stop putting the Red Sox in that group.
And they shouldn't have taken themselves out. To your point, I agree with you there. But if they are taking themselves out, we have to know that.
So I'll talk about the Red Sox differently. If we get more information about the Red Sox are a mid-market team, maybe they're just going to be
If
18th,
if
12th in payroll and like be a
if
scrappy
we
young team and
hear
make your occasional move.
if we hear concretely from John Henry or Craig Breslow or Sam Kennedy that they want to operate like a mid-market team, I will look at them as a mid-market team moving forward.
Yeah. Right. And I don't know if I really trust Craig Breslow as this great GM.
Interesting. All right.
Because the thing is with Christian Campbell, right? The game, the extension, is that working? You got Brian Bayo as well. Are those extensions? I mean, you could say, well, Brian Bayo's got a 3.31 ERA, but you look at the peripherals. Let's see if that lasts. I just don't think that he has made that many great moves, right? A lot of these reclamation projects on the mound. Now, the Red Sox have gotten injured, and I know it's not perfect, and I'm not calling him a bad general manager. I still want to see more, but I have just been really disappointed because they went from Heim Bloom and they let Heim Bloom go because Heim Bloom couldn't make the finishing moves, and now Breslow just kind of feels like more of the same of that. Now, he did go for Bregman, but again, it was a short, front-loaded deal with opt-outs. Bregman's going to opt out. He said he's open to a deal with the Red Sox. Maybe they re-sign him, and maybe they don't. Because maybe Breslow sees, all right, you want now a long-term deal? We weren't willing to give it to you last year. Maybe we're not willing to give it to you this time either. And
Yeah.
then what? So maybe I just need to change my tune on the Red Sox. Maybe I need to
Maybe.
stop judging them like a big market team. I will judge them like a mid market team, and I will applaud the one big move they make a season, and it'll be awesome. Like the Garrett Crochet move. That was awesome deal for a mid market team like them. It was. It was an awesome
That
deal.
was such a backhand slap there.
No, I just glazed Crochet to no end.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
literally yelling into the mic.
No, but for a mid-market team, that's a really good backhanded slap.
Should I do that, or should I view them as a big market?
No, I like
Tell
what you
me
just
what to
did.
do.
I like what you just did.
Red Sox Nation on YouTube, tell me what to do. Because this is why I get so upset. I don't know how to judge them.
They're frustrated as a fan base, I'm sure. Okay, two more quick things to wrap. Fernando Tatis Jr. is suing Big League Advance. This is an article from the AP that I went down the rabbit hole of. This was episode 1 of the Project the Plate podcast. We gave out the Fernando Tatis contract to one player on all 30 teams. We know that would literally never happen, but that's what we were doing in March of 2021. This came after Fernando Tatis signed his 13-year, $340 million deal. Big League Advance gave him $2 million up front when he was a minor leaguer in exchange for 10% of his future earnings. I'm pulling quotes from this AP article. Again, he sued Big League Advance in an attempt to get out a future earnings deal. Tatis signed this deal with BLA as a 17-year-old that cost him about $34 million. The lawsuit, this is all from the AP article, filed in San Diego County Superior Court, accuses Big League Advance of using predatory tactics to lure him into a, quote, investment deal that was actually an illegal loan. Attorney Robert Hertzberg is representing Tatis. Hertzberg said Tatis received $2 million up front in exchange for 10% of future earnings. He signed that $340 million contract in 2021. Tatis, his statement read this, quote, I'm fighting this battle not just for myself, but for everyone still chasing their dream and hoping to provide a better life for their family. I want to help protect those young players who don't yet know how to protect themselves from these predatory lenders and illegal finance schemes. Kids' focus should be on their passion for baseball, not dodging shady business deals. BLA declined comments. Hertzberg, who's representing Tatis again, quote, California lawmakers have put in place serious, straightforward protections against predatory financial activity, but Big League Advance has still disregarded our laws to pursue a business model built on prohibited, deceptive, and abusive practices. This is revisiting a conversation that we had 4 years ago, again, when we learned that Tatis would owe Big League Advance $34 million in exchange for $2 million to push him through the minor leagues. We had Soledad O'Brien on, who did the feature on Real Sports on HBO. We had Michael Schwimmer, who is the founder of Big League Advance, on the podcast as well. It's interesting that this is coming back up. I don't have any interest in taking a side in this whatsoever. It's unfortunate that we're pushing to this point. I'm sure this has been in the works for a long time. It's a loaded conversation, and we acknowledged that it was a loaded conversation when we were naive 22-year-olds, and here we are at 27 years old having this same conversation, acknowledging that it's loaded and it feels predatory. Michael Schwimmer told us that all legal avenues were accounted for, and we'll see what shakes out with this.
So I'm not necessarily going to take a side. I'm just going to tell everybody what I know and feel. We met Michael Schwimmer about 4 years ago, and ever since then, he has been awesome. We've texted a couple of times, we met up in person a couple of times. I think he's a great guy. When I learned about Big League Advance, I was nervous about it because I was like, wait a minute, what? You're giving out loans to 16, 17-year-olds?
My understanding was it was 18.
Or maybe 18, right?
My
I think the
18's
problem with
huge,
Tatis,
obviously.
I think the problem with Tatis is that I guess technically he was 17 when he did the loan, so he might actually win his suit. I'm not sure. Again, I don't know the legality of all these things. That's why I said I'm just going to tell you what I know. All right, I'm being sincere when I talk about this. This is everything that I know. I don't know the legal jargon, but this is what I know. That he was giving out loans to, let's say, young prospects. And at the time, he might have said 18. I might be remembering it wrong when he was saying 16 or 17. I just know that he was giving out loans to kids that they thought were going to be potential superstars. And the way that it's been explained to me is, let's say Fernando Tatis Jr. never made it. Never made it. He gets to keep that $2 million.
He would keep that 2 mil.
So that's the thing. They are also taking a gamble on a lot of these players. Their hit rate isn't amazing, right? They lose a lot of money making these deals because it's not a loan that you then have to repay. You only repay it if you sign a big time free agent deal. So for Big League Advance, it's almost like a parlay in a way where it's like if they bet on 6 different guys, 10 different guys, and one of them comes up, they're going to get a return on their investment. So that's what they do. For kids who are maybe in low income families or don't have the equipment, or maybe they don't even have enough money to travel to these different showcases or anything in order to get on people's radar, what Big League Advance will then come in is give them the money up front. And then if you become a big time star, they then get the money on top of that.
My understanding was that they did not strike deals with amateurs. That was my understanding.
My understanding is it might have been 18 when it starts.
My understanding was they were pro guys. They were approaching minor leaguers, and they wanted to give them pretty much a bridge payment to help sustain their lifestyle and sustain their training regimen through the minor leagues until they got to the big leagues.
I think also they went into Latin America and signed 18-year-olds that weren't
Yeah, they
yet,
were already. I mean,
or
typically those
maybe
guys signed when they were 16
complex.
years old. That was my understanding. Again, like I don't have the entire client base that Big League Advance had, but I thought that they struck deals with guys when they were 18 years old or a little bit older that wanted that upfront payment to help them through their minor league journey in exchange for a percentage of their future earnings. And the top payout was, I think, 10%, and it was $1 or $2 million. So Tatis received $2 million as a minor leaguer to help him get through the minor leagues and train the right way, eat the right way, hire whoever you got to hire. And in exchange, he would owe them 10% of any future contract.
So yes, we obviously don't have all of the information. And maybe it'll come out that they were giving out illegal funds, to players. But from my understanding, from what I have been told about the situation, is that they have been above board, that it has been legal, that they, of course, lose money all the time on players who don't make it, and their business model is predicated on a few guys making it to the big time. And what they try and do is provide players who don't have the money at the time in order to help them move through the minor leagues. And then when they do sign that contract, then everybody cashes in. In my opinion, I don't think that's a bad business model, and it doesn't sound illegal to me.
I am going to have zero opinion on this. I know there are plenty of people around Major League Baseball that have signed this deal
Yeah,
with Big League Advance. Probably on your favorite team, there are at least a couple of guys that have done this deal, and I will reserve again all opinion until all the information is out.
agreed. We will update everybody on the. I will just let the people know this is what I know from Michael Schwimmer.
Gotcha. One more quick thing before Peter's last word. Whit Merrifield retired. Congratulations to Whit Merrifield, three-time All-Star. Whit Merrifield led the American League in hits twice in 2018 and 2019. He had 10 triples in 2019. That led the league. He led the league in doubles in 2021. He led the league in stolen bases three times. Again, three-time All-Star. This guy retires with 1,147 career games under his belt, the 280 hitter, and a 17.9 career B WAR. Congratulations, Whit Merrifield.
I'm always going to think of Whit Merrifield as a bit of an inspiration to young baseball players. And the reason for it is when I was reading his, kind of goodbye letter to the fans, he was saying that I never had enough talent to just make it to the ballpark and play. He had to work for everything that he got,
Yeah.
right? Because he, at the end of the day, right, he's not a very big guy. He's like 6 foot, 180 pounds. I mean, he's not a tiny guy by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not like he has big time power. He doesn't have any crazy tools. He's just a ball player at its core.
He was a
And a,
ninth round pick out of South Carolina.
and a ball player at its core still can carve out an incredible career while we're talking about how the talent is so outrageous, right? I think of a guy like Nico Horner. No clear, crazy tools, but he's a great baseball player. He understands how to play the game. So
Yeah,
when guys like these retire and you look back on their careers, I think Whit Merrifield is an inspiration to a lot of kids playing baseball right now that don't have crazy tools, but know, like, man, if Whit Merrifield makes it, now again, Whit Merrifield is a gym rat, right? He's working every second of the day, and it really speaks to, you know, hard work can beat talent. And I think that's what
100%.
Whit Merrifield is. And again, I think it's an inspiration.
I dig it. All right, what's your last word?
So my last word, someone left a comment on one of our TikToks, and I was like, wait, what? So I have a question for you.
Yes.
Well, first, do you think there are more kangaroos or people in Australia?
People. There's a lot of uninhabited areas in Australia, but I'm going to go people.
There's 43 million kangaroos in Australia, or at least 42.8 million, recent estimate in 2019. There's 26 million people in Australia.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
my question to you is, if the kangaroos invaded, who would win? And the reason I'm asking this, because you might say, well, people, right? They have guns and everything like that. But we've already talked about the emu war back in Australia a long time ago, where they tried to get rid of the emus and they had weaponry and they couldn't get rid of them, that people lost the emu war. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, there's 26.6 million people in Australia. How many of them are children? You're going to give like 10-year-old kids a gun? And then I think to
No,
myself, how many people would actually be fighting the war? All basically 42, 43 million kangaroos are going to fight that war. All I'm saying is we better hope the kangaroos don't invade Australia or invade the towns in Australia.
sure. I think I like to believe that advanced weaponry can help us win, but that's like
Kangaroos are quick.
and here's the thing, man, like there's a huge difference between 43 to 26 as
Yeah.
opposed to 43 million versus 26 million.
Because again, that's a lot of millions more.
It's a lot of millions more. And like
And
you got to remember how large 1 million is.
and how many of those 26 million people are actually going to be fighting in this war?
I think if we have our backs against the wall, there would be more than you would expect, obviously.
Like
I
what?
would hope that several million would get involved, but
Exactly. Let's say 10 million Australians get involved versus then
this is
43
totally just
million
like
kangaroos.
this is absolutely a splinter off of the 100 men versus one gorilla conversation.
Yes.
And I think if we have weapons on our side, like a tank could take down 1 million kangaroos.
Put it?
I think so.
Because I feel like, I mean,
The
kangaroos
other
are
thing is like
big.
it's not just one huge wave of kangaroos like charging. It's like, oh, here come 43 million kangaroos in one fell swoop. Like it's not just a head-on thing. I'm I'm gonna say humans take this one.
I think the kangaroos might have the upper hand, and I agree with you. There are tanks, but they can't just bomb them. That would be unfair. It has to be
How
like
would that be
guns on the
unfair? I
ground.
think by all
Yeah, I
costs, it's
guess.
a life or death
Because if
situation.
you are getting invaded by $43 million
I'm team human
kangaroos,
beings. There's a chance kangaroos have advanced weaponry. I haven't seen it before.
can you imagine if they came out with some crazy shit?
That would be awesome.
So that was my last word. It was very stupid, but I thought it was kind of funny.
I'm in.
Hopefully, everybody enjoyed this episode of the Just Baseball Show. And if you did, the best way to support, rate, and review Spotify, Apple Podcasts, like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. And if you want to join the best baseball group chat in the world, you know where to find the link in the episode description. We're almost at 800 members. It's been so much fun in that thing. $5 a week. So if you just want to join, see what it's like, just $5. Again, $10 a month. So hopefully everybody will join. Again, that link is in the episode description. For Jack McMullen, I'm Peter Apple. We will see you on Friday. And with that, thank you, everybody.